Good morning and welcome again to A Simple Word. Thank you very much for joining us. This is Father Simeon Gallagher, and I'm happy to be with you. It's an odd kind of time, isn't it? We're in the Easter season, and resurrection is our song, but we witnessed, unfortunately, the death of Pope Francis a week ago, and Easter Monday. And we lost one of the greatest leaders, not just in the church, but I think also in the world. There was an article in the New York Times a number of Sundays ago, and in the article it said that Pope Francis was the sole voice of morality in the world, and unfortunately many people are not listening. And so we gather now with the cardinals in Rome, hoping and praying that the Holy Spirit is powerful as the Spirit moves through their minds and their hearts, and that the leader that they will give to us, chosen by the Holy Spirit primarily, but also through the human instrument of these men, and that we will have a Pope once again who will inspire us and lead us with humility and generosity of mind and heart. That was so much the case with Pope Francis. We listened this coming Sunday to an interesting passage that sort of plays into what the Church is dealing with as we wait for a new Pope to be chosen. It's Jesus. He's at the sea, and it is a text that's important because it indicates the primacy, as we say, the first place of St. Peter, the first Pope, and the importance that Jesus places on his role in the Church and the role of discipleship for Peter and for the other apostles who are named in the text, but also the discipleship that we are all called to play. The idea of discipleship is not just tied to people like myself who is wearing a Capuchin habit, or someone with a Roman collar around their neck, or someone with an emblem of their religious order on a chain or on their lapel. Discipleship is so much more than that. And so as we listen to this passage, there's three aspects of that conversation between Jesus and St. Peter, and you'll hear this playing itself out in the coming Sunday. The first aspect is Jesus saying to Peter, "Do you love me?" And of course, if there's one characteristic that we see in the life of Jesus, it's this enormous capacity for compassion. Benedict XVI said one time, and maybe I have quoted this before, he was asked, "What is your image of God?" And we all have an image of God. And Benedict said, "My image of God is compassion within compassion within compassion." Jesus is not chastising, reprimanding, shaming St. Peter because of his threefold betrayal in the courtyard of Pontius Pilate's house. I don't know the man. I don't know the man. No, I'm not part of his group. He's giving him the opportunity to undo that threefold denial with the threefold profession of faith. Do you love me? Do you love me? Do you love me? And the compassion of Jesus is amazing. And so we look at St. Peter and we hear him saying, "You know I love you. You know I love you. Why are you asking me this question?" It's not because Jesus is insecure in his relationship with Peter or it's because Peter himself is going to follow the Lord in discipleship to the point of dying in martyrdom because he loved the Lord. Do you love me? I think that this is the staying factor in any kind of discipleship, any kind of solid following of the Lord. It's not a question of an intellectual understanding, all the rules and regulations, although they are important. It's that interpersonal dynamic where if the Lord were to come and ask me or ask any of you, do you love me? We would be able to say with Peter, you know that I love you. And so it is a question. Discipleship is not tied to a kind of intellectual repetition of formulas from a catechism. It's how much we're willing to die for him. And love, of course, as Jesus himself says, proves itself when we are willing to die for our friend. So the call to discipleship is not just a kind of intellectual exercise where we know the answers to the questions that people raise. It's this profound interpersonal dynamic. Mother Teresa herself said that. We've got tons and tons of teachers, she said. What we need are witnesses. People who have found something worth dying for, and Peter found that in the Lord. The second aspect of this text that I want to call to your attention is that any serious call to discipleship necessarily entails a mission, a job, a task, a responsibility. And so we hear Jesus saying, feed my lambs, feed my sheep. The call to discipleship means that we become engaged with other people. It means that we participate in the community building that is so important in terms of following the Lord. And that community is a community of people who are needy, who need to receive the gifts that God has given to me, including the gift of himself, particularly in the Eucharist. The world is hungry with all kinds of hungers, and Jesus gives himself to us in our discipleship call so that we can then give ourselves away in service to other people. This is never a relationship that ends and terminates in me, as if it's a Jesus and me kind of affair. It's Jesus calling me, feeding me, nourishing me, so that I can feed and nourish the hungers of humanity. Feed my sheep. And there's a third aspect of the text that you'll be listening to in the coming Sunday, and it's the last line, follow me. And this is extremely important, isn't it? Because we hear a cacophony of voices all around us, pulling us, tugging at us. I don't know how many people have said to me just in the last few days, what kind of a pope do you think we need? What are the qualities and so forth? And those are important without a doubt. We need someone who's in touch with reality, but we need someone who is primarily in touch with the Lord. That he becomes the focus, not the political scenarios, the economic scenarios, the social media scenarios. We need to hear one voice, and that voice is large and loud and strident. Follow me. And in following him, things fall into place, things become clarified, there is a direction, there is a journey to be accomplished, and that journey is in companionship with him. So, this is an appropriate text that we'll be listening to given the historical circumstances of the loss of a pope and the selection of a new one. We hear those three little phrases. Do you love me? Feed my sheep. There is a mission that is attendant to and consequential to being called to discipleship. And everything will fall into place if we clearly follow Jesus. I think this applies across the boards, in families, with spouses and each other, as well as within the context of the church and the many roles, duties, and obligations that go along with being a leadership person in our churches and our parishes and our schools. So let us once again have open ears and an open heart, and let us hear what this gospel is challenging us to do, to love the Lord profoundly and deeply, to be sensitive to the needs of people who are all around us, and to keep our focus always on the Lord. So, God bless you, and thank you once again for joining us, and I'll look forward to seeing you the next time.